This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. So we all know that the legendary pro wrestler Hulk Hogan has died at the age of 71. He's going to be sorely missed, obviously. He was a legend and is a legend in the professional wrestling field. And so we all know about this. It shouldn't be any surprise to anyone. We should all be aware of this reality. So it's everywhere. However, there has been some controversy about apparently some racial slurs that he said he was caught saying some years ago. And now there's a lot of negativity coming out about it. A lot of people are glad that saying so many negative. This is what I'm hearing and this is what I'm reading, that there's a lot of backlash over the apparent racial slurs that he made. And apparently he asked for forgiveness, but I guess a lot of people are still holding on to this anger towards these racial slurs. And according to some sources, he supposedly used the N-word. What I want to hone in on is, and I'm trying to make this as professional as I possibly can. What I want to hone in on is the backlash itself. Okay, I want to hone in on that. I want to focus in on that, the comments that's been made about him, and what appears to be intense hatred for him using the N-word. So I just want to read a portion of this article from Breitbart News, just to give us some context of what exactly may have been said. The article doesn't give us any details, but to give you, just to keep within the framework of the context, I want to read some of this article, and then we're going to get right into our discussion, because I definitely had something to say about the supposed using of the N-word and the backlash from a lot of people that are, like, according to some sources, rather glad that he's gone. Can you believe that? I can believe it. Yeah. Anyway, professional wrestler legend Hulk Hogan has died, according to TMZ Sports. He was 71 years old. Emergency medical services were sent to the home of the legendary wrestler in Clearwater, Florida, early Thursday morning to reports of a cardiac arrest. Rumors that the wrestling icon's health was deteriorating emerged a few weeks ago when his wife, Sky, dismissed rumors that Hogan was in a coma. Instead, she insisted that his heart was strong. Hogan had recently undergone several surgeries, one of which prompted TMZ Sports to report last month that the Hulkster was on his deathbed. No one in the world of professional wrestling and few others in the realm of sports impacted the generations that watched them more than Hulk Hogan. A symbol of patriotic strength, faith, and physical toughness, Hogan inspired children in the 1980s. And I watched a video, actually, of Hulk Hogan being interviewed by Johnny Carson way back in the 80s. I think Hulk Hogan was like 26, 27 at the time. Boy, I'd have been the man was over 300-something pounds. You need to check that video out. Johnny Carson interviewed him. And boy, oh boy, that man was huge. But anyway, Hogan inspired children in the 1980s and 1990s and beyond to reach their full physical and moral potential. Every wrestling event during the peak of Hogan's career featured thousands of Hulkamaniacs decked out in his signature yellow shirts with red lettering. Hogan settled America's Cold War era disputes in the ring to the delight of fans. In 1984, he defeated the trash-talking Iron Sheik for the heavyweight championship. And who could forget in 1985 when he defended that belt while carrying the Star and Stripes decked out in a shirt that read "America Made," and handily defeated the Soviet enemy Nikolai Volkov. I think that's what that means. Anyway, I can't remember. In 1996, Hogan went from hero to villain after creating the New World Order. Somebody please tell me what that was about. I don't know nothing about that. He also changed his name to Hollywood Hulk Hogan. To kids from the 1980s, however, it was nearly impossible to view the Hulkster as a bad guy. In 2005, Hogan was inducted into WWE Hall of Fame. 10 years later, he would be removed from the Hall of Fame after Gawker posted clips of racial comments during a sexual encounter. Hogan would later sue Gawker and re-enter the Hall of Fame in 2020 as a member of the New World Order. In more recent times, Hogan made headlines outside the ring by becoming a baptized Christian at the age of 70. So it's crazy. He also made a splash in the world of politics with his passionate speech in support of President Trump at the 2024 Republican National Convention, and that was pretty awesome. He will be missed. End of article. He's going to be missed, and he's going to be sorely missed. But let me just start off by saying, I'm from the 80s. I'm a 80s kid. I was a teenager during that time. And that is my personal favorite decade of all decades. I love the 80s. But I was never into pro wrestling. I never really watched pro wrestling at all. I watched clips of it, but I was never into pro wrestling. My thing was horror movies. I was and am a horror fan. So my thing was all about horror movies. Every horror movie that came out, I used to buy Fangoria magazines and all of that type of stuff. So my thing was horror. It was not wrestling. It was not any of these other stuff. However, when I would go to school, just giving you a little, taste of what it was back in the 80s. For those that may not be familiar with that, when I was going to school, it didn't matter who, whether it was black or white. The Hulkamania was big. It was big, okay? It didn't matter if he was white or black. People, the teenagers would be in school, play acting as if they're wrestling, grabbing people, putting them in arm bars, and all kinds, jumping on things and jumping on them, and all kinds of crazy stuff that these kids were doing. And I'm looking at all of this stuff and I'm like, somebody gonna get hurt, and some people did get hurt. Hulkamania was big. It was big because I saw it. I personally saw Hulkamania, the effect of Hulkamania. It was huge. And I remember in, I think I forget what year Evil Dead 2 came out. If any of you are familiar with Evil Dead movies. Evil Dead 2, I forget what year it came out. I think about like 1985, 86, something like that. 87, 80. Can't remember. But there's a particular scene in Evil Dead 2 towards the climax of the movie where it's this demonic entity in physical form. Ash, the main character, is fighting it. And I think he gets the best of this demonic entity in physical form. He gets the best of it. He punches it. And then all of a sudden the camera, there's nothing on the camera. It's just a wall or something. And all of a sudden you see the entity rising up and doing this, shaking like this, right? And all of a sudden the audience goes up in a great applause, and you hear people saying, "The Hulkster, the Hulkster, the Hulkster." And I'm like, what are they talking about? And I found out that what it was because I would see this often in clips back in the 80s on TV. Whenever the Hulk would, the Hulk, but whenever he would get enraged or he's about to do something, he'd start, like this, and then it's like, oh, it snapped on. The light bulb came on my head. Oh, that's what they're talking about. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. It's pretty cool. So the director of the movie, I guess, decided to put that in the movie itself. So anyway, so Hulkamania was huge. It was huge. And even though I was not a fan of wrestling, I was a big fan and a big fan of horror movies, and that was my thing. I was surrounded by Hulkamania, okay? And Hulkamaniacs. I was surrounded by these people, so I had no other choice but to feel the fire coming from these people. But I didn't know anything about later on any racial slurs or anything like that. I was hearing from other sources that apparently some time ago he had made some racial slurs, and as I said in the introduction video, he apparently used the N-word, okay? He was found to have used the N-word, but evidently he asked for forgiveness. Do I agree with that? Of course not. I forgive him big time. Number one, he put his faith in Jesus Christ, was baptized and put his faith in Jesus. So he's with the Lord right now. His body is in the grave, but his spirit is with the Lord right now, waiting for the resurrection of his body to be glorified. For those of you that know the Bible, to be glorified and to live with the Lord forever. Yeah. So, amen. Praise God for that. Thank the Lord. It's interesting because according to the article, he put his faith in Jesus Christ, was baptized at the age of 70, but he died at 71. So God got him right in time. Got him right in time. He put his life in the hands of the Lord right in time. Praise God for that. I thank God for that. But I guess that's not enough for some people. That's not enough for some people because apparently they're holding, according to sources, different sources, that there are certain people that's holding an alt against Hulk Hogan because of these racial slurs and the fact that supposedly he used the N-word. Never mind the fact that the man said, "Forgive me, I'm sorry, I apologize." Never mind if it was in the past. No. And the thing I think I like that this, you could ask people for forgiveness, but some certain types of people you can't say that to. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about liberals. Yes, I name liberals because liberals play off of racism. Asking a liberal person to forgive you or to say I'm sorry about some racial slur I made in the past is null and void. They're not going to forgive you. Oh my God, you the worst person in the world. We ain't going to forgive you, which makes sense to me because liberals half the time they don't believe in God anyway. So why would they forgive anybody? Why would they forgive? They probably wouldn't even ask for forgiveness themselves, let alone giving forgiveness to anyone that asks. But anyway, evidently, whether these are, and I'm pretty sure in my view, a lot of these people that are hating on Hulk Hogan for the racial slurs he said, even though he asked for forgiveness, are of the liberal side. They're leftists. I know they are. Because conservatives are not going to do that. They're not. Sensible people are going to forgive the man. But not liberals. Liberals are full of hate and bitterness. These are some hateful, bitter people. They're just hateful. I don't know of any liberals, hardcore liberals that are happy, that have any joy, that forgiveness or kindness. I just don't know of any. I personally don't know. I'm not saying that there aren't any, but I just personally don't know. And I don't hate liberals. I don't hate anyone. I can't hate anyone. Because as a man of God, I can't hate anyone. I pray for the salvation of all. But liberals or the real radical ones, those are the ones that just make my stomach just hurt, man. Because they're so bitter and hateful and angry, I don't want to be around them. I just don't want to be around them. Unless God send me to them, I don't want to have anything to do with them. It appalls me that people will be holding on to this hate towards this man and anger towards him because he used the N-word in some altercation or whatever. Even though the man asked for forgiveness, they still hanging on to this hatred. Now, some of these people, from what I'm apparently finding out, that's holding on to this alt against Hulk Hogan are black. I hate to say it, but black people. Not all of them, but black people. Some black people from a different segment of the black population in America are hanging on to this hate towards them. Now, here's the problem I want to hone in on. A lot of that is so hypocritical. And I'll show you why. It makes me want to barf when I hear black people, of a certain segment of black people rather, that sit up and boo-hoo and fart and snot about people using the N-word, other than, using the N-word. Oh my God, you use the N-word. It's the worst thing in the world. And I'm so offended and I'm so hurt. I just want to jump out the window. My life is over. I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to be successful because you use the N-word, even though you wasn't using it towards me. You was using it towards somebody else. You use the N-word. It's the end of my life. These people are so hypocritical. This certain segment of black people are so hypocritical. And the reason why I say that is because they use the N-word all the time. And I'm just going to say it. My nigga. What's up, nigga? What's up, baby? What's up, nigga? It's absolutely insane. It's totally okay for you to use it, but anyone else to use it, whether it's a quote-unquote term of endearment or a racial slur, you using it. Now, the whole idea of it being the N-word being adopted as a term of endearment is one of the stupidest, dumbest, most ignorant things I've ever heard. That makes no sense whatsoever. I've asked myself this fundamental question. I says, where did that originate from? Who created the idea of adopting that word that was used by racist white people decades ago as a way to put down black people and belittle black people, who started the trend, the tradition, if you will, because that's what it is now, tradition, to use that as a term of endearment? Who started that? Because black people, successful black people between the 20s and the 40s didn't use that term as a term of endearment, from what I understand. Who started that trend? Somebody please tell me in the comment box below. Who started the trend? Who started the trend? Who originated it? The idea of taking that word, that N word, and creating it as a term of endearment among blacks. Because you're taking something that was designed to put black people down and taking it as a term of endearment, but you get mad when somebody else uses it. You get mad when another white person uses it. You'll say, well, they're not qualified to use it. Neither are you. Neither are you. But to get mad, now going back to Hulk Hogan and his apparent use of the word, apparently, allegedly, as an actual racial slur, this is what I heard supposedly he said, and I'm just quoting in a paraphrase statement, that someone he knew was trying to date someone black, I think it was his daughter or something like that, and he's like, and I heard supposedly he said, I'd rather for you to, I'd rather for you to marry or date one of them tall, rich NIGGAs. Apparently that's what supposedly what he said. Rather than someone else, I guess, who wasn't making any money. But you got to think about a black person who wasn't making any money. Now, if that's accurate, okay, I had to think about that. What exactly was he? Was he being racist in the strictest sense? Because racism in the strictest definition is when a particular race or a particular ethnic group considers another particular race or ethnic group, to be more specific, as inferior to them simply because of their color. Okay. If in fact he said these things, I got to thinking, was he being racist, or was he being prejudiced and discriminating? Because we all have prejudice and discrimination in us. We don't want to admit it. Prejudice means basically to prejudge someone based on faulty information. Discrimination means to say, oh, I'm going to pick this over this. We do it all the time. So could it have been him not being racist in the strictest sense of looking at black people as inferior simply because they're black, but rather playing the discrimination role of saying, okay, look, I'd rather for you to be with one of these black people that's making a lot of money, one of these NIGGAs that's making a lot of money, rather than someone who's not making a lot of money. Because if that's the case, then I would deem it more of a discrimination concept rather than a racist concept, if you guys know what I'm trying to say. Please don't misread what I'm saying. Okay, racism, prejudice, discrimination. Prejudice and discrimination can be offshoots of racism, but they can also be different. Prejudice is to prejudge someone. You prejudging someone off of faulty information. We all do that. We all show prejudice. Whether it's based on someone, whether we want to admit it or not, whether it's based on someone's ethnic group, based on someone's sexual preference, whatever. And we all, to some extent, discriminate. We discriminate with the foods we eat. We discriminate with the people we want to be with. Marry, date, whatever. We discriminate. You know, we discriminate on all kinds of different levels. We discriminate in reference to jobs. We discriminate. So could it have been that what he said, just give you my opinion, was not necessarily a racial slur in the classic definitional sense, but rather a prejudiced or a discrimination concept? Because if it was prejudice or discriminating, it wouldn't be as severe as racist. But sometimes, especially when you know all the context based on what I've gave. So but at any rate, to have this hate, based, so much for that though, but to have this hate for this man after he has died, it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. It shows the hypocrisy of the radical left, who's the only ones that's doing this, and the hypocrisy of a certain segment of black people. Because you can't get up here and yip and yap about somebody else, and then you using the same word. I mean, even Denzel Washington used it in Training Day. No one said anything about it. Yeah. My nigga. My nigga. Come on, nigga. Come on, nigga. When he was in the car, nobody said anything. I know because I watched it in the movie theater. Nobody said, ooh, he's using the N-word. Nobody said anything about it because it's perfectly okay for black people to use it, especially black people from the hood. And it's crazy because most black people in the hood, most, not all, but most black people in the hood / ghetto tend to be racist themselves. But they tend to be the most racist against white people, against other people that are not like them. Jews, Arabs, and all the rest. They tend to be the most racist. Unfreaking believable. But yet they use the very word that was used to put down black people and belittle black people. Shows you how smart they are. People so aggravating, man. They're so aggravating to me. I swear, they're so aggravating to me. And get mad at me. Get mad at me. Man, go on somewhere. Anyway, that's what I had to say about it. That's just my opinion. This is entertainment purposes. So don't nobody take it. Please don't be butthurt because of what I said. Just my opinion. And I'm passionate when I speak. I have to be passionate to make this video semi-entertaining anyway. If I just speak in monotone, well, I don't know. I already can't show you clips. If I speak just monotone, you're gonna be bored. Okay? So I don't want you to be bored, so I gotta speak crazy every now and then. Okay, so yeah, it's entertainment purposes. Don't be upset about it. Just go and say, oh, that's Mr. Boland's opinion. I don't agree with his opinion. Let me move on. It is what it is. That's my opinion. Hey, all these cats out here that's talking like this, hey, grow up. Grow up. Stop using the word yourself. And everything else I say. That's just my opinion on it. But once again, going back to Mr. Hulk Hogan, he's going to be missed. He's going to be missed, obviously. And I did hear a significant portion of the speech that he gave at the 2024 Republican Convention. Yeah, he told me, I like the part where he tears his shirt off. And that was just so cool, man. The Democratic National Convention had nothing on the Republican National Convention. Yeah, you can call it bias all day. Yeah, it was bias. It's bias, all right. But anyone that have eyes to see know good and well the Republican Convention was far better than the Democratic National Convention. Democratic National Convention was so woke, it was stomach churning. But anyway, yeah, that's my opinion on it. What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.